For the second part of our lesson, let's go back and review our learning objectives to define economics and enumerate the branches. We're done defining economics. To appreciate the historical background of economics, I do hope you learned and appreciated the background of economics, may it be biblical or scientific. We have named school of thoughts, discussed their themes. We have discussed theories of well-known philosophers. And this time, we'll discuss another champion for economics. And yes, to differentiate microeconomics from macroeconomics. So, here's an image of Adam Smith, known as the father of modern economics, who provided the second assault on mercantilism next to David Hume. He believed that productivity capacity, not on its gold holdings, as the key factor for economic growth. So, attention turned from acquiring species, gold or silver, to enlarging production, freedom to pursue self-interest through division of labor and specialization, because these are believed to propel higher productivity level with more efficiency, more effectiveness, and lesser cost. And that competition was the automatic regulation mechanism. Who is Adam Smith, by the way? He was born in Kirkcaldy, Scotland in 1723. At the age of 17, traveled to Oxford, stayed for 7 years. He was a natural scholar. He spent time in college library where he read almost everything he could lay his hands on. Had left Oxford, lectured at Edinburgh, appointed to the chair of the moral philosophy at Glasgow. So, The Wealth of Nations is known today as the Bible of Economics. But prior to writing the book, Adam Smith learned the teachings or the themes of the physiocrats as well as the mercantilist points of view, the teachings of the Greek philosophers and other great minds prior to his time. And there are two quotations from the book which are highlighted, one of which is this: "What is prudence in the conduct of every private family can scarce be fully in that of a great nation." So, the concept of demand and supply come in. A minimal supply can be prudent or abundant in a small family because the consumers, in terms of number, is small relative to a great kingdom wherein there are many people demanding for, let's say, food or drinks during an occasion. Second, it is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their self-interest. Because of self-interest, the baker, the butcher, or the brewer are producing the goods that they sell. It's not because they want to please or satisfy the consumers, us, but they have the high regard for their self-interest. The baker bakes cake in order to sell to the buyer. In return, he will be receiving a profit that he can use to buy the needed goods or basic needs in the family. So it is based on her or his self-interest. Same true with a businessman, doubling his effort to manage the operation of the business with the hope of gaining interest or profit at the end of the day. A student studying well, investing time reading books, researching. Self-interest, aside from to pass the subject, is to gain approval of his or her parents. Maybe he is desiring to earn a Latin honor during the graduation. So, he is regarding self-interest. People doing charitable acts have their self-interest or personal agenda as well. One is to avoid paying much tax. Second, to gain support from other groups because somehow the company or corporation, for example, is doing charitable acts because of its foundation to gain goodwill of the corporation. And for a Catholic, we believe in the existence of heaven and hell. So somehow, we are taught in the church that if you are doing good things, you will be earning points, right? And a place in heaven will reserve for you, something like that. So we're always regarding our self-interest. We have that personal agenda within us, so we are acting the best performance that we could. That is self-interest. There are those economists during the times of Adam Smith, with the classical times. We have the post-classical times. We have the modern times, post-modern times, the contemporary times. I believe you heard about Thomas Gresham in your earlier economics course, David Ricardo, Thomas Malthus, Jean-Baptiste Say, Thomas Carlyle, John Maynard Keynes, Karl Marx. So they have different points of view in the field of economics. They have various theories, laws, and that is a proof that economics as a science is evolving. There are ideas that were acceptable during a period, and later on, they were replaced by other ideas because of the changing times. Okay? Different theories are emerging in order to adapt to keep abreast with the changing times. We know that as adaptation in economics. I mean in biology or in science. So we have defined economics as a social science dealing with the proper allocation of scarce or limited resources in order to satisfy the unlimited human wants. So two reasons why we have economics: due to limited resources and insatiable or unlimited human wants. If this silhouette of a human body represents economics, spread your two arms. It's your first branch, microeconomics, and the second branch as macroeconomics. Dealing with the individual units of the economy is micro. Macro takes the economy as a whole in terms of aggregate, that is macroeconomics. If you want to determine the household or firm's decision, the income of a certain individual, or the tax being paid by a person, that is at a micro level. Topics like gross domestic product, inflation, unemployment, poverty, price level, aggregates, etc. are topics under macroeconomics. So, in terms of spelling, nagkaiba sila sa letter A for macro, letter I for micro. Remember, A stands for aggregate or taking the economy as a whole, while microeconomics deals with the individual sector of the economy. It's either I or you, right? Individual business, a bake shop, a car company, expenses of a certain family. That's individual or microeconomics. We have a sample quiz items here. Under what branch of economics each of the following analyses would part of? Write your answer. So a business wants to determine how much is the price of their new product, the additional revenue generated with the syntax law, level of production of a car company, a student deciding where to take his lunch, either at the school canteen or in McDonald's. So for letter A, obviously, it's an individual business, so it's microeconomics. Number 2, revenue generated out of the syntax law that is applicable to the whole nation or at national level. So this is a macroeconomics. Level of production of a car company, it's micro. But when the item says level of production of a car industry in the country, making it macroeconomics. A student deciding where to take his lunch, well, that is microeconomics. All the 4 statements or items have something to do with economics. So, we are affected, influenced in our daily lives by economics. Ultimo, pag-decide kung saan ka pupunta, saan ka kakain, anong gagawin mo for the day, that's economics. Anong bibilhin mo, anong ulam mo, saan mo gagamitin yung oras mo, right? Saan ka magta-travel, that's that's economics. So, trying to compare microeconomics and macro to the human body can be likened to macroeconomics. It is the entire body system. But for the organs or cells, it can be likened to microeconomics. However, in anatomy, what is felt by an organ is felt by the entire body. Right? We have the cliche in Filipino, sabi natin, ang sakit ng kalingkingan ay sakit ng buong katawan. Okay? Pag kinurot ka, ramdam mo ng buong katawan mo. Pag na-stroke ka or nagbara yung heart mo, it's not only the heart that is affected but the entire body system. That's how the body works. But in economics, if something happened or something is wrong in a micro level, it does not actually affect the macroeconomics level. For example, let's say employee A is promoted and his salary is doubled. Pero siya lang, as an individual. Okay, nadoble yung sahod niya as an individual. So, hindi naman influenced yung entire employment or yung mga workers natin. Siya lang. Tumaas yung kanyang consumption, tumami ang kanyang binili, pero hindi naman gumalaw yung bintahan sa market. So, kung yung buntis, naglilihi, for example, naghanap ng maraming makakain, hindi naman tataas yung presyo ng produkto. Right? Unlike when macroeconomics or the macroeconomic level is the subject. So, as an illustration, we have here a weighing balance. At the first part of the weighing balance is the amount of money circulating in the economy, represented by the 3 P's. While at the other part of the weighing balance is the price level or the consumer price index. Okay? CPI is used by economists in order to determine if there is an inflation rate. So we are comparing the CPI from one quarter to the previous or from 1 year to the next. That is CPI. Now, if the central bank decided to print more money, they're adding amount of money that is circulating in the economy. And what will happen with the weighing balance? Okay? Mas mabigat na sa kabila, tumaas yung isa. So, that means tumaas yung presyo. Nagkaroon ng inflation rate. Kasi dumami ang perang umiikot sa ekonomiya. And the purchasing power of a peso will eventually diminish. Okay? Magmamahal yung presyo ng mga produkto at serbisyo, bababa yung value ng or halaga ng currency ng bansa. So as an illustration, okay, way back before the Japanese times, we have this paper bill in the Philippines amounting to 5 centavos, 10 centavos. During those times, the value of this paper bill was very high. I can say it's equivalent to the 1,000 peso bill today or the 500 peso bill of the current times. But because the economy is developing, growing, right? And because more and more money is injecting and circulating in the Philippine economy, the value of this amount, 5 centavos or 10 centavos, is no longer sought after, right? If you have the 5 centavo cent, you just put it away. But if you have the 20 coins, 20 peso coin, you will keep them because the value is relatively higher compared to a 10, a 5, or a 1 peso coin. Another example is what happened in the country called Zimbabwe, okay, in 2008, 2009, wherein their central bank decided to print or to mint a $50 trillion worth. So the face value is $50 trillion, but the actual value is low. The value of the money is very low. They even created or printed $100 trillion. What is the use of this amount if a piece of egg worth billions of Zimbabwean dollars, or a price of a loaf bread worth 100 trillions of Zimbabwean dollars? That's why you can see this kid and this man going to the grocery. They bought with them bundles, volumes of paper bills that they will use to purchase goods and services in the market. So instead of using much materials in printing money, they decided to print a paper bill with that value, $100 billion. So meaning, because the economy or the government in Zimbabwe decided to print more and more money, the value of their currency declined. Yun yung tinatawag nating hyperinflation. More than 1,000 times percent of inflation rate is hyperinflation. In the Philippines, we target 1 to 3%, right? The central bank who oversee the financial system in the country has its goal to maintain a low inflation rate. So it's normal to have the inflation rate because it's an economic, tendency. However, what is not normal is beyond the targeted inflation rate. Kasi pag tumaas ng, for example, 10% ang inflation rate, yung value ng pera mo will also decline by 10%. So yung savings mo sa bangko will decline 10% as well. Okay, so that ends the second part of the lesson. Here are our references. Economics City is Economics for All, Wealth of Nations, the Holy Bible, the movie Lucy, Cyclopedia.com, Britannica, International Economics, National Bureau of Statistics of China, Statista, CFI, and I observed there are incorrect statements in the first video, so it's incorrect to say one of the system. It must be one of the systems. Adam and Eve were banished, not was banished. One provides, not one provide. That's subject verb agreement. The space was expanding, not the space is expanding because it happened in the past. Okay, with that, thank you. I hope you learned a lot from the lesson, and I believe all the objectives listed before the video were achieved. Thank you very much and have a great day, class.